At Northrop Grumman, innovation isn't just an idea. It's a way of life. The value of performance. Northrop Grumman.
Are you guys excited about science? I hope you are, because we are. Yeah? Awesome. So we are explorers, and we're going to actually take you into our lab and what it's like to do science on our end, and hopefully that will spur a little bit of excitement for you. So when we go into these environments, we are engaged with the unknown, and that's what science is about, the unknown. And in field exploration, especially what we're doing in our type of exploration, as you can see in the pictures above, the mask that I'm wearing, actually I have one of these with me here, I have to communicate with my dive buddy, which is Aaron, because I can't see him in these environments. So it's pitch black. Once you go below the water so far, there's no ambient light. That means the sunlight doesn't cut the water, and you gotta go to really high intensity lights. So I actually communicate with Aaron with something like this. And as you can see in the picture over here, you can see the current going around Aaron. So some of these dive conditions that we are in, if you can imagine, I wouldn't recommend this, but if you can imagine going on the front of a car going 65 miles an hour down a road, a highway, and you're trying to hold on to that hood, that's basically what it's like to dive in these environments with this heavy, heavy current. And the idea is this is washing all fresh fossils out of the way. And then sometimes we're engaged by critters like these. So I actually came up and surfaced within 6 feet of a 9-foot alligator. It was not very fun. Aaron came to my rescue.
So Jason's head, that alligator thought Jason's head was kind of like a turtle. It was a little snack coming up out of the water.
Like, all they see is my head, so I had to pull my whole body on the surface of the water and make myself as big as the alligator. So he's like, oh, okay, maybe I don't want to attack this thing. And then I actually, underwater one time, I was bumped by a shark. So I'm in black water. I'm moving in this current, heavy current, and this animal came up and rammed in the side of me, moved me a couple feet. So I just huddled down there for a little bit, wait for him to do his thing and leave me alone, hopefully, and then went on to my business.
So why would we do this? It doesn't sound very pleasant, does it? You're in smelly places, you're underwater, you can't see anything, there's critters that can get you. Well, this is the reason why. This is the arm bone from a whale. It's about 5.5 million years old. This is actually an adolescent, so this is a teenage whale, it's not full grown. So this is actually small compared to what we find sometimes. If you look at the picture here, you'll see the shark teeth that are ubiquitous in this area. They're everywhere. You can go to beaches here locally and you can find these teeth just laying around. And on the bottom is a new species of whale that we found in South Carolina. This is why we go to those risky places.
So what we want to show you is we want to take you into our lab and basically show you what it looks like underwater in some of the environments that we're engaged in. And you can see there's a little bit of tannins to this water. Basically, this is a swamp. So we're in a swamp area, and it's not clear, and this is the decay and of leaves turning the color different color, or the water different colors. And we actually did some diving during Hurricane Sandy. So I don't know if you remember Hurricane Sandy, but we took advantage of those heavy currents to wash out fresh fossils.
We're only going to take one aluminum, one steel. We're diving shallow today, so probably only about 15 feet.
Did you put the plug in?
This is not the normal dive site.
Right?
Yeah, it's out pretty far.
You can see giant barnacles. Absolutely huge. That poor little shell. He had one heck of a huge barnacle growing on it.
Shell that big. So you see where that beach is right there?
I'll drop you off at the beach.
If you go right out from the beach is where I found that big vertebrate.
tree. Another tree.
This is actually very clear conditions in some of the conditions that we get into.
To give you a sense of how bright those lights are, this is how bright they are. So that you can see just about 6 inches in front of your face, you need a light that powerful.
It's pretty murky. Actually, I think there's a little clip here where you'll see some whalebone. There's some whalebone there laying on the bottom of the river.
I had something that looked like a hybrid between a bass and a sunfish. Yeah. If you wouldn't move, man.
Skull chunk.
Yeah? Did you bring it out?
Yeah, a little one.
Sweet.
Yep, it is fossil. That is awesome. We'll have to take that to the museum.
Sometimes we tap it on our teeth to see if it feels like a rock, and that we can tell if it's fossil.
Used in the embed 10 sticking out except for a little bit of the root.
Oh yeah, I can see.
There's probably not too much more beyond this. This is just wood here, actually, fossil wood.
On some of the areas, we have exclusive permission to go in and excavate fossils that are really dangerous. In this case, some of the cliffs actually fall down, so you got to be very careful.
Like the bird skull.
I mean, that looks like the file mark, right? Right, there's two file.
I don't think it's a tiger. I think it's a tiger shark. Yeah. It goes in, it crushes, and then that broad end of the tooth gets scraped along and has the serration marks on it.
Yeah, you might be right.
Now these are just random whale vertebrae from a whale that was probably about 5 million years, lived about 5 million years ago. And what you're seeing is real time when I was taking this video of me finding these bones just laying on the bottom of the river right after a storm surge.
A really cool thing about the fossil record is fossils really can tell a story. This particular whale vertebra, this was an old creature, but this vertebra in particular has these weird growths here on the vertebra, on both sides, where the vertebrae were actually starting to fuse together. So this character here had arthritis and probably died of old age versus being attacked by a megalodon. Of course, it may have been on his last leg, but there's another vertebra here from the same critter, and if I remember the orientation right, they just actually wrap over the vertebra.
Now look closely here and see if you think you know what this next thing is. That's a megalodon tooth. So just like on Shark Week, which is right around the corner, these are the prehistoric megalodons. And this is actually the teeth, and that's how it was laying on the bottom of the river.
These pictures here are of some work that we do in the field, collecting samples for students like you so that you can participate in discovering new species of sharks, new types of sharks, and help us gather data on fossil sharks.
So we actually take that material in the field, as Aaron just described, and if you see in the bucket here on the left-hand side, we're actually pulling this raw material. It doesn't really look like much, right? We bring that material into classrooms where students just like yourselves actually sort, and you find things like all the way on the other side of the screen, which are tiny shark teeth. which could lead into new discoveries of new species or new occurrences of species, which we have many kids all around the country that have found new occurrences of species.
So these are some of our partners, Scientific American, Zeiss, and you can join them and Jason and I and a lot of other volunteers here at the Science and Engineering Festival to help us search for sharks, skates, rays, and other fossil critters from 19 million years ago.
So today we thought we'd try something a little bit different. So we have 2 seats, random seats within this auditorium that have a piece of paper underneath that seat. So what we have is a certificate that is signed by both Aaron and I, and these fossils were actually found last year in 2013 through the Google Science Fair Hangout with Scientific American, where we did a live feed, and this was globally presented. And some of the fossils that we have found, we're actually going to start giving some of those away, accompanied with a certificate. So you get to take these home. But this is the deal. Please share them with your school and share them with your friends as hands-on, okay?